Hey everyone, this is Philip Moore from Gizmo Data. I want to show you a couple cool things that we're working on. First of all, we have the new website up and running. I know you're excited, like I am. GizmoData.com. So if you go here, I want you to go to the GizmoEdge product page. And when you go here, you'll see information about our GizmoEdge engine. It's the world's best IoT distributed SQL engine. You can use this engine to divide and conquer your big data workloads among IoT devices, including Kubernetes pods, ambient compute devices like MacBooks, iPads, Windows computers, iPhones, if you'd like. Basically, anything with compute, a network connection, and some storage and memory has the potential to be a GizmoEdge worker. So you can click the Try GizmoEdge button to go to and try it out, which is, we're going to do that in just a second. I'll kind of demo that. But if you go through this page here, you can see all the cool features that GizmoEdge provides. We also have a cool dark mode now on the website, so you can toggle that to your heart's content. So I will go ahead and launch GizmoEdge here, and I want to show you a cool new capability we've built into the engine. All right, so if you go to GizmoEdge page, you'll be greeted with a sign-in thing. So all you have to do is just sign in with one of these methods that we support: Apple, GitHub, Google, LinkedIn, and Microsoft. I'm going to go ahead and do Google here, and this is just so we know who's tried the engine out. So there's no, you don't pay anything. This is completely free. So just bear with this sign-in process, please. So I'll click on the Google method here. I'll pick my Google account I want to sign in with. It just lets me know, hey, I'm signing in with Clark. I'll click continue. All right, so it takes us to the GizmoEdge IDE for running SQL queries. So you can see here on the left, we have a schema browser. In here, we have the SQL query that we're going to be running. We have a run button. We're successfully connected here, and we do have the dark mode toggle. I'm going to go ahead and go to dark mode here because all the cool kids are doing it. So we have this query here, and we're going to run this query. And one of the cool things that GizmoEdge is going to do is going to distribute this workload out in real time to workers that we are running in Kubernetes. I have a worker running on my MacBook. This is the GizmoEdge Mac worker. And I'm using iPhone mirroring here. I'm actually running GizmoEdge worker on iOS as well. And you can download the iOS or Mac worker using this little button here. So if you click that, it'll take you right to the App Store, and you can download and install the GizmoEdge worker and basically run your own queries on your own MacBook or your iPhone. It's you can distribute those out to those things. So let's go ahead and execute this query and see how it divides and how we divide and conquer this workload. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click run here. And you can see a lot of stuff happened here. We got a result set down here, but the cool thing that I want you to see is that we actually distributed that workload out to several machines. So we distributed it out to 33 workers that are running in AWS cloud. We have 33 running in Azure cloud. We have 32 running in GCP. We have an iPhone worker, and we have a Mac OS worker. So this is the iPhone worker here, and this is the Mac worker. So if I run this again, you can see how quick we distribute that out and how fast those results come back. So this federated engine is using WebSockets with really low latency, so we can send out that workload very fast. The workers work on their respective chunk of data. They're using the DuckDB engine, which is awesome. It churns through that data set and sends a result back up to the server. The server then squashes that result set and sends us the result as a client. So we're running a client here. This is the GizmoEdge browser client. We have a CLI client as well. It's not as cool. Pretty proud of this front end. So I'd like you to use this if you don't mind. So you can see we can churn through that result very fast. In here, we can actually say turn off distribution. We can set that to false. And if we rerun here, you can see that we're going to run that query on the server itself. So this is a 100 gigabyte database, not huge, not gargantuan, but you can see how the server, which has far less resources than our IoT computing cloud, will take longer to execute this query because it has to run through the entire 100 gigabyte data set by itself. So it doesn't have its friends helping it out. And so you can see that took 25 seconds to execute. All right, so let's go ahead and turn distribution back on. We're going to set it to true here. And we're going to turn on summarize. And you can see how fast GizmoEdge distributed processing actually executes that. So all that happens in less than a second. So let's do some other queries here. So some queries don't need summarization because they're not doing any aggregation. So these are doing joins, but no aggregation. So if we execute this guy, it isn't distributed, but the rationale is that it doesn't contain any aggregates. So we didn't really need to divide and conquer that. Let's pick another query, query 3 here, the TPC-H benchmark. We do have some aggregates here and some group by columns, so this should be a good candidate for distribution. And we run this guy, and boom, sure enough, we distributed it out to all these workers and divided and conquered that query. So let's do some more queries. Query 19 is typically pretty challenging. It's a join between line item and part and doing a sum here. So GizmoEdge just churns through that very rapidly. We'll pick some more query, 22 here. And we didn't get any result there. So I'll try 21. And we churn through that pretty well. So I just kind of want to show you that. And one of the other cool things is that if we look at the worker here, so we can see how this stuff works, right? So we'll clear the log on the iOS worker here. This is actually my iPhone being mirrored to the screen. And if we run, let's go back to query 1. And we run that query. As soon as I click run, we should see something happen over here. And so sure enough, you see that the worker got the query from the server. It ran the query and copied the data set out to Parquet. You get an execution time here. It took less than a tenth of a second. It sent a base64 representation of the data set back to the server. And then finally, the server let this worker know, hey, congrats, you're the fastest worker for this query, for your shard of data, your chunk of data. So all that happens extremely rapidly. So you can see it did that same thing on all 100 workers, and they all sent the result set back, and it processed all that stuff in less than 1 second. So we churn through that 100 gigabytes, boom, like it's a butter. That's one of the cool things about GizmoEdge is that you can distribute these workloads out, divide and conquer. It's like if I gave you a big term paper and I said, hey, I want you to write this 1,000-page paper, and it's due tomorrow, right? It's probably going to be better if you hired 100 of your closest friends to each write 10 pages. And that's exactly what GizmoEdge is doing. We're just dividing and conquering that big data set. So same thing on the Mac worker here. If I scooch this over and I run, you can see that happened on both the Mac and the Windows, or I'm sorry, the iOS worker. So let's rerun here. And you can see how both workers get some messages, process some data, send some data back. So I just want to demonstrate the cool federated nature of GizmoEdge. As you can see, we're using all 3 clouds, AWS, Azure, GCP. We're using the latest ARM instances available on those those clouds. So R8GD is a Graviton 4 instance. In Azure, the standard E64 PDS is a Cobalt 100 ARM instance. And in GCP, we're using the C4As, which are Axion ARM processors. So we're using the latest generation compute from all these clouds. We're able to leverage all 3 clouds for distributed computing. My server here for GizmoEdge is running in Azure. Azure is kind enough to grant me some credits. Very thankful for that. So thank you, Microsoft, for granting me those credits to run this demonstration, run this cluster. But the cool thing here is, again, I'm dividing this work out, not to just Azure, but to AWS, to GCP, to a Mac, to iOS. And we could actually scale up to thousands of these workers. And so I'll be doing a video very soon where we're going to actually divide and conquer a 10 terabyte data set. And we're going to churn through those 60 billion records in just a couple seconds, just like we churn through this 100 gigabyte. You say, well, how's that possible? Because we can scale almost infinitely with GizmoEdge and process data faster than any database in the world, just by virtue of that awesome divide and conquer capability. So this has been a demonstration of GizmoEdge and our federated distributed query engine. I appreciate you checking this video out. And if you have any questions, please contact GizmoData at info@gizmodata.com. Send us a quick email or check out our website. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.